on the News Channel 5 network. This is Morning Line with Nick Barris.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. Nick Barris here on a Monday. It's good to see you. We've got a good show on tap. Hope indeed you had a good weekend, and we're kicking off, this work week with a fine guest. I mean, he has an additional title to his name. As you know him, okay, and I know him just as Daron the Big Dog, okay, but he also is the sheriff. He's Davidson County Sheriff, Daron Hall, but now he wants me to call him president. Okay, not president of the United States, but president of the National Sheriff's Association. Ooh, okay. We'll find out exactly what that means, but it's been in the news the past week, and I'm going to try to couch my sarcasm for just a moment to find out what significance there is to this new title for the top lawman in Davidson County, Daron Hall. And I didn't know if you'd shake my hand after that, but he's used to my crap, all right? So we'll just roll from there. But congratulations, truly. You know, you had announced it on this show prior to it formally happening for you, but I guess last week it's official.
Yeah, you know, Nick, I was elected 2002 into this job, and about 6 months later, I received this letter saying you're going to host the National Sheriff's Association. That had been done years before, but it just so happened to land in my lap.
Meaning you're going to host it here in Nashville.
Nashville. Yeah. So recently elected and kind of a lot on your hands, and all of a sudden you're bringing everyone to Nashville. And so that started a relationship, and I think I met a lot of the people because you're working with them to kind of host it. And it's kind of funny, once you host it, you get a lifetime membership. It was one of the appreciation. Cool. So I did that, and then sure enough, a couple of years later, they asked at Nashville to bid on it again. So we hosted it again, I don't know, in 2000, maybe 11 or somewhere. And so, and that kind of built some relationships. I had a lot going on back home, of course, and getting familiar with the job. But they really pressured me, why don't you get involved? Why don't you get involved in a different way? And so I did that back about 2012. And so you get it, and the way it works, I've been on the board for 15 years, but the way it works is you run for Sergeant at Arms, and then each year you move up a chair. Okay. And it takes 6 years to get to the presidency. And so once
is that the goal then, to make it there, or could you just serve without the ultimate goal of wanting to be president?
You can serve on the board. They call it the chairs. You can serve on the board and never worry about doing it. But once you say, and there was, I thought, back then I served on the board for 7 or 8 years, and then, why don't you run for the chairs, as they call it. So I did that, but what you do is you map out the years of your life and say, in 6 years, where will I be? Well, I have to run for sheriff again and other things. And so I mapped it out. I have a younger son who will be a senior this coming year. We were building new facilities back, thinking about that 5 years ago. So I really had this plan that it was going to be next year, and my son would be through high school, and the facilities would be open, and my life would be in a little different place. But what you don't control is if one of the sheriffs in front of you loses their election back home, they're ineligible to serve.
So that's what happened, and you bumped into that a year early.
Yeah, and really, for a lot of reasons, it's complicated my life. But one of the good things that happened out of it was the conference moves around the country, and this year it was in Louisville. Okay. Probably my second home.
And you were just up there, right? That's where this. Yeah,
that's when it. So you got to be kind of sworn in, if you will. My family was all there. We had, a lot of our staff got to drive up. It was close to home, and that wouldn't have happened in any other city. Probably you're going all over the country.
Is it a one-year term?
It's a one-year term.
One-year term anyway. Like you said, it would have happened had he not lost the guy who was in there, his race.
Yeah, and that's what you get for planning, because I had planned it all out. And then in November, he lost last November. So from November to now, it's just been kind of a chaotic state. But
well, you said you get a lifetime membership when a city hosts it. I'm just wondering then, so first of all, can you give me an idea how many sheriffs are there nationwide? And there's got to be hundreds, thousands, I guess. And then, are they all members of the association? Or are some not?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's over 3,100 sheriffs in the country, 3,108, I believe, something like that. So in the country, and then there's 15,000 members of the association. Now, you can be a member of the association, so it doesn't limit it to sheriffs. But truthfully, you have my estimation would be about 800 active sheriffs of the association in different ways. And many more are members, but when you really talk about active and participate in all the events and so forth, and it's as you can imagine, when you go out to Wyoming and the sheriff from Wyoming, who was the president of this a few years ago, their issues are totally different, and they're into forestry and what's going on. Of course, the marijuana issue coming out of Colorado. There's a lot that's different for us, but. We've never had one from Tennessee. I always thought that was of interest. We've had a lot of sheriffs that have done really good things, but we've never had one who kind of led the national, and so I thought, it'd be a good opportunity back when I was thinking the timing would work out. But it gives me a chance. I mean, we're going to, I'm going to really move the mental health conversation. A lot of sheriffs really are interested in it, but we're going to try to move that. And we have a lot to kind of, I hope to offer here to show. I had some sheriffs call me yesterday wanting to come down to Nashville from Indiana to see the behavioral health center. They've heard us talk about it. And also going to learn a lot. I've had everything from already requests for me as the president to come visit the border. Because of the complications,
see what's happening,
and then we got the opioid issue in Ohio, and so there's just a lot that I think it'll be a great honor to finish this thing up, and I've done a lot of things in this job, and it's a great honor, but it's a lot of work.
You'll be great. And I'm just wondering, you touched on it a little bit there at the end, but for folks watching here now, maybe who happen to live in Davidson County, wondering just from their perspective, having you as the president of the National Association, in your mind, is that good for Davidson County? I mean, I'm sure it is, but I mean, what could it bring to Davidson County in your mind?
Well, it's a great question. So here, just in a few weeks, 22nd, 23rd of July, I believe it is. I mean, we have the highest figures you can have from the Department of Justice, the National Institute of Corrections, and there's all these what I would call the higher ups in the federal government who want to come and see what we're doing because, and I'm talking primarily about programming and so forth. And my belief is written in there somewhere some opportunity to receive money to help us.
Great.
One of the presidents a few years ago in this job, he was from Louisiana, and he was really into needing really for his community a mobile command set up because they were dealing with all sorts of hurricane relief and issues, and so just through the networking he was able to, he got like an $800,000 piece of equipment that allows his community to have its mobile command out in well, that's not what we're going to need, but I surely could see us, I'm really going to try to push to get the Medicaid expansion conversation moved where people who are inmates in custody aren't removed from Medicare, Medicaid. I hate to say it, the title helps us a lot get that done. I mean, we may not be able to, but to be able to use the title of representing the sheriffs. But, I'm very proud of what we're doing here. We can learn from anyone, and we will, I think. But I do think it gives us a chance to put Nashville in another conversation about what all we're doing, I think, in a very positive way to change the criminal justice system. And so and again, Nick, I would tell you this, I would not have wanted to do this on my first 2 or 3 terms even. I mean, there's a lot, that job is very complicated, and have a lot of folks who do great work for me, and we but I don't want to look up and mess up, and so I'm trying to balance the travel and the needs with also making sure that the sheriff's office here gets our full attention.
Yeah, and there's so much, because I mean, you've got your hands full here as it is with this. But what's interesting is you taking this position now just with this new jail about to open up. And I'll tell you, in a lot of my reporting and stories where I've talked to folks in law enforcement, it just keeps coming up what you've been leading. And you've said the governor's on board as well. You've been really happy with what the governor said, just about dealing with the mental health aspect and I guess the substance abuse, and what this new jail is going to bring in terms of trying to, deal with these inmates in a different way and maybe make it so that we don't have them coming back so often. I mean, you've been in front of that since you've been coming on this show.
It's been, and I mean, this is kind of corny sounding, but I think we've had 2 presidential candidates ask, can they come?
Yeah.
And I mean, the point is that's not impressive to me, but it says a lot about what we're doing. I mean, my point is, if the national conversation can be to talk about, let's deal with the mentally ill in a different way than we've done it in the criminal justice system, if that's because of what we've built, if that's because of this title thing or whatever, then good for us. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, I don't, you've heard me for years. I mean, I'm probably not the normal, I was interviewed about what are your priorities, and a lot of people who the sheriff of the National have a lot of priorities to deal with more the enforcement branch, which I think is critically important. But I think I'm unique in the other way, that I believe there's 2 branches to this thing, is who did it and why they did it. And I'm trying to arrest the why, and a lot of people arrest the who. And if we can make the communities understand that if we can do something about the why, maybe the who goes down.
Right.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's so focused on punishment, and I understand that, and there's anger out there. People commit crimes, and they want them to throw away the key, lock them up forever. look, I feel it, I see it because we
Yes,
cover it, and some of these
right.
crimes make me so angry. But yeah, the why, and if you can prevent it, and then save all the taxpayers some money by, they come through the system, and then maybe you treat them so they don't come back by recommitting.
Right.
Who on earth would be against that? And that's what this new jail, I'm counting on this. And I'm going to get one of the very first exclusive tours. He'll walk me through there. And I'd like to dine in the new dining room there, okay?
We'll do that.
Which I understand.
But as the president, I can have you arrested from anywhere in the country, I want you to know. So wherever you go now, you claimed for a while, I just want everybody to know that you can be on vacation.
And I can be arrested.
And your sarcasm on this set can lead to...
And I said it, I brought it on myself.
It's treasonous
The other day,
almost.
how many years has it been since you had me arrested in this studio? And it's on, you Google Nick Barris, and that's one of the things that comes up. Nick Barris getting arrested on set. Now, they figure out real quick it's a farce because you had nothing on me. But it's there, and someone came up to me the other day who was not even living here, who just checked me out. She goes, "So what about when the sheriff had you arrested?" And I said, "Oh, that's great."
Did you tell her why? Because I was tired of having to run around Nashville and say, "Well, Nick Barris says you can't do it. Nick Barris says." I said, "Well, then we'll just watch next week, and we'll figure it out."
Proved me wrong. It continues to haunt me. We'll take a break. When we come back, we have some phone calls already coming in for you. The number 737-7587. Obviously, we talked about his new position with the Sheriff's Association, but if you have questions about the jail, law enforcement, some things always happening within the realm of Davidson County and the Sheriff's Office or elsewhere with regard to law enforcement, give us a call. The Sheriff's here until 9 o'clock. We'll be back with more right after this.